let's talk about affirmatives and negatives. Well, that's awkward. Okay, so how do you make a sentence negative in Spanish? So a lot of times y'all want to say, how do I say I don't? I don't do this, I don't do that. And my question always is, what do you want to say you don't do? Because you have to know which verb it is before you can say that. So you put a no in front of the verb. That's it. That's kind of one of the cool things about Spanish. So I don't need to say I don't. And that's one of the big mistakes I see a lot is that people want to say no hago hablar francés, to say I don't speak French, right? All you have to do is say no hablo francés and we're done. Don't add hacer in there unless you're literally making or doing something. Okay? Now, here are the following negative words. These are great words. They can be used a lot. They're very, very clear and precise. So they're just fantastic to put into your little toolbox. Nadie is no one. Nada is nothing. So, for all you swimmers out there that nadar, there's a funny joke in there about, are you swimming or are you doing nothing? I love swimming, no offense. Okay, so nadie, no one, nada, nothing, ningún, ninguna, and ninguno mean none or nothing or none or not any. And we'll get into those in a second. And then nunca means never, and tampoco is the opposite of también, means neither. So we'll get to that, I guess, when we get there. But basically, también means also, like me too, and tampoco means me too, but in a bad way. Then I always imagine that this little P is a thumbs down, and then the también is, well, I'll get there in a minute. The también has a B, which is a thumbs up. So it's like, hey, we agree on something we like. Hey, we agree on something we don't like. Okay, what do all of them have in common? They all begin with the letter N except for tampoco. All right, so ningún, ninguno, and ninguna are all negative words, and they kind of mean the same thing. It's just that ningún and ninguno are different, or they differ in the fact that ningún and ninguna act as adjectives and come before the nouns they describe. But ninguno would only be used to take the place of a noun. And I could do that with ninguna as well. Ninguna kind of plays both sides. But ningun is only going to act as an adjective, and then ninguno would act as a pronoun. And in case you don't know what a pronoun is, it's basically when I remove the noun, like the sandwich, I remove that from the sentence, and instead of saying sandwich, I refer to it as it. That becomes a pronoun. So if I wanted to say, do you have a pencil? There's two ways I could answer it. I could say, no, I don't have any. And any, A-N-Y, in that case, stands for any pencils, right? Or I could answer and say, no, I don't have not one pencil. I know it sounds kind of weird in English, but in Spanish it's fine. So these are two very perfectly fine ways to use it. It's just that this one that has the O, or it would have an A if it was something feminine it was replacing, is using it as a pronoun, so I wouldn't put the object after it. Whereas this one, I'm using it as an adjective. It's going to come before the noun, and it's going to match in gender and number. Okay, so it would be ningún lápiz because it's el lápiz, or ninguna blusa because I don't have not one blouse. Okay? The following are affirmative words. So we've got alguien, which is the opposite of nadie, that's someone. Algo, which is the opposite of nada. Algún, which is the opposite of ningún, and you can see all the different forms there are right there. And then I've got siempre, which is always. That one's kind of easy because my brother was a Marine, and semper fi, like, is short for semper fidelis, always faithful. And then también is also or too. You see how that's a thumbs up? Hey, we agree on something good. Tampoco, thumbs down, we agree on something bad. All right. What is the opposite of the word mentioned? So the opposite of siempre, nunca. The opposite of alguna, ninguna. The opposite of nadie is alguien. The opposite of tampoco is también. And the opposite of nada is algo. Now, what's super important for you to know is the opposites. This is like the most important page. Well, obviously you need to know what they mean, but knowing their opposites is helpful, especially for the practice you're going to do. Because the practice is going to say, do you have any? No, I don't have, not any. Have you met someone? No, I haven't met anyone. And it's always going to be about like doing the opposite of it. And also I can say, el opuesto de nunca hacer algo es siempre hacer algo. Does that make sense? So anyway, that is the affirmatives and negatives.